Jolly good show, Major.
What's going on, TTC? Proper Conversation. Just jumping on here today to touch on a couple of subjects that I've seen being brought up, here and there over the interwebs, the social medias and forums alike. One is Russell Wilson and his contract talks. Now, there's a whole lot of talk about Russell Wilson, saying he wants to be the highest paid quarterback in football. I don't know how necessarily true that is, and I don't know if he necessarily has the, if he actually should be asking to be that. But if that's actually the case, now what his agent is saying and what he really feels probably aren't one and the same. But that's beside the point. Anyway, so we'll talk about Russell Wilson here, and then we'll also talk about. I was actually speaking to a couple of fellow Seahawk fans, fellow 12s, about Jimmy Graham and what his role will be in the Seattle Seahawks offense. We'll go ahead and start with Jimmy Graham. A lot of folks seem to think that this addition of Jimmy Graham is going to be, whereas obviously he's the caliber of player that he is, he's going to be used as some sort of decoy. People tend to apparently think that, as good as we've been without him, which is, I certainly can't argue that at all. We've been great without a Jimmy Graham. We're just going to do that again, whether or not Jimmy Graham is there or not. We're going to be the same Seahawks football team, and that I think is just fundamentally incorrect. I mean, you have to grow, you have to change, you have to expand, you have to move forward. If you're not moving forward, you're moving backward. There is no standstill. Jimmy Graham is quite certainly not going to be any sort of a decoy for Marshawn Lynch. Absolutely not. Jimmy Graham will have his portion of the playbook. You want people like to reference what happened with Percy Harvin. But there's a difference there. It's not exactly one and the same. Percy Harvin, when he came to Seattle, to implement him, the player, into our offense really required us to actually change our philosophy. Seattle has been, as of recent, a zone read team, power run, zone read or power run. That's what we do, and throw when you have to. Percy Harvin comes from a speed, stretch the field kind of a mentality, kind of offensive philosophy. So you're taking two, nearly opposite things and trying to make them work cohesively. And I think that's where things went wrong. Trying to run those plays with Percy Harvin. I think we would have done better with Percy Harvin. Number one, and as just treating him more like a wide receiver for one. But number two, if you want to use him as this gadget player that we tried to use him as, which he's good at doing, if they're going to do anything, what they should have did is run some type of like pistol, or set up a shotgun with two running backs. The shotgun have Marshawn and Percy Harvin in the backfield at the same time. That should be what they should have done. Trying to run all these bubble screens and running the end arounds and the jet sweeps. They work for a period of time, but you're able to sniff those out. You're able to game plan for those and sniff them out after so long. And that's what ended up happening. If it was me, I would have been lining up Percy Harvin right next to Marshawn Lynch in a two running back shotgun formation or a pistol, something like that. Run the read option where it can go. Run the read option to Lynch. Run the read option to Percy Harvin. Run a triple option. I mean, if we're taking it back to college play calling anyway. Why not run a triple option, right? Take it. Is he gonna give it to Marshawn to go up the middle, up the gut? Is he gonna take the option to go Percy around the corner, or is he gonna pull it back and find his own way himself, Russell Wilson? A lot of options there, but they didn't do that. Didn't work out. And then Percy Harvin ended up being an ass. So that was, something else. So that's why I think it didn't work with Percy. Now, on the other hand, when you have Jimmy Graham, again, comes from a different style of offense. But Jimmy Graham, the sort of player he is, okay, he's a tight end. Now, he's a very fast, agile tight end who borderlines on wide receiver, but he's got the size of a tight end. The Seahawks have been wanting to have a strong 2 tight end set to run plays out of for a long time. They haven't been able to do it because they've been plug and playing these, forgive me for saying no-name guys in the tight end position. You got, Zach Miller was hurt a lot. You ended up getting Luke Wilson, who was young, and just recently, hopefully, he figured out how to catch the ball. He had a lot of drop balls, so we were plug and playing at tight end. We really weren't able to use the tight end as we really wanted to. Now we've been able to supplement with our receivers, which is great. We've been able to do what we had to do. But Jimmy Graham is not there just to be a decoy. Absolutely not. Jimmy Graham, imagine the 2 tight end set with Jimmy Graham and Anthony McCoy, assuming he stays healthy. Jimmy Graham and Luke Wilson. Okay? Cooper Helfrich. These guys have proven already that they can play. Right? We didn't know before, but now we know. There's a reason that we have 5 tight ends on the roster. Right? Now, they may not all make the team by the time we get down to 52, but there's a reason we have 5 tight ends on the roster because we plan on using them as something other than decoys. Not everything on the field is a decoy for Marshawn Lynch. Marshawn Lynch is going to get his carries, but Jimmy Graham is not a decoy. Jimmy Graham will have his own specialized scheme plays just for him, just like we did for Percy. The difference is it's going to work with Jimmy Graham. Okay, not even that. Imagine just what it opens up by having Jimmy Graham on the field. Okay, when Russell Wilson's out there doing his best Fran Tarkenton impersonation, just imagine what he's going to have available to him when he has to outlet that football. When he has to just get rid of the ball. Imagine where he's going to be able to go now. He's going to be looking for Jimmy. When Russell's out there doing his twisty whirl, right? Getting out of danger, which he does better than anybody in the league. Imagine he's looking for Jimmy because Jimmy is the one guy he knows he can put that ball in a position where nobody can get it other than Jimmy. We haven't had that. Jimmy is the kind of player where you can put the ball in a spot where either he can get it or nobody can get it. Jimmy Graham is not a decoy. I can't wait to have line up in a read option formation with Jimmy Graham and Anthony McCoy, Jimmy Graham and Luke Wilson on the same field. Marshawn in the backfield. Okay, what's Russell going to do? He's going to hand it off to Marshawn. He's going to pull it back and turn the corner himself. He's going to play action. But the defense crashes on the run. Guess who's going to be running wide open in the secondary? Not to mention, Doug Baldwin and Jermaine Kearse and whoever else is on the field. Right? You got Doug Baldwin, Jermaine Kearse on the outside. Luke Wilson and Jimmy Graham, right? Tight end. They crash on the run, on a play action. Who are you going to go to? Whoever you want to. There's just so many weapons now. There's so many weapons now. So he's so much more. He's so much more than a decoy. If you're thinking that's what he's going to be, retrain your thought because this is going to be the year of the tight end in Seattle. That's my prediction. This is going to be the year of the tight end. So, and obviously, Marshawn's, and I'm not saying that Marshawn's not going to be the focal point of the offense. I'm not saying that either. Marshawn's going to get his 1,000 yards. Marshawn's going to do his beast mode runs. Marshawn's going to keep on doing what Marshawn does. I'm telling you, the tight end play is going to be the integral part of our offensive production this year. Marshawn's going to do what he does. He's going to continue to do that. That goes without saying, right? But the tight end play is going to be like, hey, man, we've been trying to do this for a long time. Here's this tight ends that they just can't stop. You can't guard everyone. One-on-one is an advantage for the offense. You have to scheme. You have to double somewhere. You got to find a way to double or trick the offense into doing something, baiting them into do something. You can't guard all our weapons. All our guys they're all too good to play one-on-one. So what are you going to do? Someone's going to be open. It's going to be good. I have a hard time seeing who's going to stop us. Barring some devastating injury. Okay? So yeah, get ready for this. I'm saying right now, the year of the tight end in Seattle. Right? And it's hybrid tight end stuff. I'm not talking about, old school tight end, Shannon Sharp, Jay Novacek, that kind of tight end stuff. I'm talking about hybrid tight end stuff. All right? I'm talking pass it down the field tight end stuff. I'm not talking about fucking, little little dump offs and 5 and 10 yard outs and ins. I'm talking about some hybrid tight end fucking play from these Seattle Seahawks tight ends. Just watch. And when they start to play the tight ends, Dougie will be open. Jermaine down the sideline, it's money. Jermaine Kearse down the sideline, one-on-one, it's money. We've already seen it. Right? Don't let Chris Matthews show us that what he did in the Super Bowl is really who he is. Shit. And then there's the whole thing with Russell Wilson and his contract talks. Now, I've spoken to a few friends, Seahawk fellow 12s, and I felt this way at first, and then I changed my thought process on it. It's a little bit disappointing to learn that Russell Wilson is just like every other player when it comes to getting his money. We all have this preconceived notion about Russell Wilson. He's just the good old boy, the golden boy, wants to do everything. Go Hawks after every interview. He's going to do whatever he can, take whatever, do whatever he has to do for the team, sacrifice himself for the team. But if you think about it, it's not really realistic. It's just not realistic for these players, for any player, to go out there and risk his physical self for chump change. And Russell Wilson's getting paid chump change. Right? This is different than the whole, Golden Tate thing. Right? They were offering Golden Tate chump change. It's way more than they're paying Russell Wilson. Now, I know Russell Wilson is in his contract year, but you have to just look at it like this. Russell Wilson is getting paid a very, 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 very small amount of money. And he's got, in 3 years at starting quarterback, he's got 3 straight playoff appearances, 2 straight Super Bowl appearances, and 1 Lombardi trophy. Now, the argument with Russell Wilson is that people want to say, oh, it's only because, he had Marshawn Lynch. It's only because you had that Seattle defense. And I disagree. Marshawn Lynch, obviously great. But would Marshawn Lynch do what he did if the threat of Russell Wilson wasn't there? Seattle defense, great. Can't even begin to argue that. It goes without saying, honestly. But would the defense be able to make enough stops? Okay, make enough stops to stop these opposing teams from scoring enough points to beat us if Russell Wilson wasn't making the magic that he was making? Keeping the drives alive? Giving the defense time to rest? Imagine our defense playing not twice as many, just half again as many plays per game as they have over this last 3 years. Just imagine if they played just half again, not twice as many, but just half as many. They're full, whatever they played, and then half again, that many plays. Imagine what the difference in outcome may have been over the course of that 3 years. We may not be the best defense in football if that was the case. Russell Wilson has literally pulled rabbits out of his jockstrap on that field. People want to call him a game manager. People want to say because Marshawn Lynch and yada yada. But the things that Russell Wilson has done on the field, no one else could do. No one else that could have potentially been a Seattle Seahawks quarterback. Okay, Matt Flynn, are you kidding me? The plays Russell Wilson runs around in the backfield for 15 seconds before he throws a pass 42 yards down the field. You know what I mean? Those are Russell Wilson isms. Those are Russell Wilson isms. Only Russell Wilson can do that stuff. Who moves around the pocket better than Russell Wilson and still finds receivers down the field? You can comment in the section below. Tell me who's better than Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson is the reason that Seattle has been as good on offense as they have. Now, I know people are going to disagree. Yes, Marshawn Lynch. I'm not taking anything away from Marshawn Lynch. Marshawn Lynch has been that diesel engine that had just keep on running through the muck, through the mud, through the rain, through the snow, through all that. Marshawn, lights out, right? But Russell Wilson, okay? Doesn't matter how big your ship is, you got to have a captain to drive it, and Russell Wilson has been doing it. The plays that Russell Wilson has made, he's made, I can't even try to say, put a number. I forgot how many amazing plays Russell Wilson has made. Amazing plays. Intangible stuff Russell Wilson has done. Russell Wilson, the reason that we've been so good is because Russell Wilson up here. It's the things that he does because of what he thinks up here, what he sees here and translates up here. The things he doesn't do. All those things are why the Seahawks have been so good, particularly on offense. Because of Russell Wilson. Now, my Russell Wilson's jock, hey, that's what you might say. I'm sure I'll see something like that in the comment section, sure. You know, I think is the funniest thing is when I predict what's going to be in the comments, what people are going to say, and they say it like I didn't just say that you were going to say it. That's always funny to me. Yeah, Russell Wilson. You take, my opinion, you take away Marshawn Lynch, let's just say it was Robert Turbin and Christine Michael the whole time. No Marshawn Lynch. It may not have been the same outcome, but it's more likely to have a similar outcome with that scenario than if you keep Marshawn Lynch and you enter Matt Flynn or Tavares Jackson or Terrell Pryor. I mean, any other quarterback that could have potentially been starting at quarterback under center for the Seattle Seahawks. Because you can't just say, oh, any other quarterback out there might have been, you know. No, you have to consider the Hi. You have to consider the quarterbacks that could have potentially played for the Seahawks. And none of them could have done what Russell Wilson's done. Now you look at the contract talk. Hi. Say hi. 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 Hey, don't spit in the camera. Hi. Hi. Say touchdown Seahawks. Yay! Look, there are 40 quarterbacks set to make more money than Russell Wilson this coming year. 40. Can you tell me that there are 40 quarterbacks better than Russell Wilson in the NFL? I'm sure you can't. I'm sure you can probably tell me 4. Some might even say 5, 6, but 40? Just as an example, players that are making more money than Russell Wilson this coming year, all right? Ben Roethlisberger, sure, okay, why not? Cam Newton. I mean, Russell Wilson's done more in a short period of time than what Cam Newton has, but okay, sure. Matt Ryan, okay, $23 million. So, Roethlisberger, $35 million. Newton, $31. Matt Ryan, $23. Jay Cutler, $20.5. Jay Cutler? Drew Brees, $19. Eli, $17.5. Tony Romo, $17. Okay, we're getting down the list here. Phillip Rivers, $15.75. Peyton Manning, $15. Sam Bradford, $13. Colin Kaepernick, oops, $12.8. Ryan Tannehill, $12.1. Alex Smith, Aaron Rodgers, okay, sure. Carson Palmer, Jameis Winston. Blake Bortles. Josh McCown. Brian Hoyer. Mark Sanchez. Matt Castle. I'm skipping a few, okay? But I'm just giving you guys a little idea here. Ryan Fitzpatrick. Matt Hasselbeck. Mad love to Matt Hasselbeck. But Matt Hasselbeck. Matt Moore. Anybody even remember who he is? Christian Ponder. Blaine Gabbert. Bruce Gradkowski. Nick Foles. Excuse me. Bruce Gradkowski was the last one. Nick Foles, Austin Davis, and Russell Wilson are tied for 41 as far as who's going to make the most money at quarterbacks this season. Now, I understand he's under contract, but this contract can be reworked. Could have been reworked for some time now. So, out of just naming those names, okay, who are you going to pay him? You know, comparable to who? How are you going to pay him comparable to who? Are you going to pay him comparable to Carson Palmer at 15? He's done quite a bit more than Carson Palmer has. Colin Kaepernick at number 11. He's done quite a bit more than Colin Kaepernick has. Shush. Phillip Rivers. 15.7. You see what I'm saying? This guy should be paid with the top quarterbacks in the league. This guy should be paid. I mean, you know his ability. Goes back to what I was saying, you know, a moment ago. It's because of him that the Seahawks have done all these things. Without Russell Wilson, the Marshawn Lynch shit doesn't happen. Some people think it's the other way around. I think it's completely and totally inaccurate. And they'll pay him. They'll pay him. They're working on it. I have a hard time thinking they're gonna let this go to like franchise tag conversation and shit like that. I'd be surprised to learn that this happens. Everybody, don't be mad at Russell Wilson if you're one of those folks who are sad about Russell Wilson being just like every other player. These guys have to try. I mean, it's one thing for players to take one for the team when you've been playing in the league for 9, 10, 11, 12 years. Or that's different. You've already made your millions of dollars. You've made millions and millions of dollars for a decade. Okay, you might take a little pay cut to go win a trophy. Russell Wilson is in the prime of his career, y'all. He's in his prime. He needs to make his money now. Now, in 2026, okay, if he's talking about taking a pay cut, that would make more sense. But right now, he needs to get paid. You don't take a pay cut when you're already winning Super Bowls for pinto beans. You don't take a short when you're out there winning Lombardi trophies. You go into 2 straight Super Bowls, possibly even 3 straight with the way your roster looks this year. You don't go out there and do all that, okay, and say, nah, just give me what you got in your pocket. No, you don't do that. Not when you're fresh in the league, okay? Not when you're fresh in the league. You make your money first. Later on down the line, when he's a seasoned veteran, you know, when he's like, hey, you know what, let's go for one more. When you're at Peyton Manning status, let's go for one more so I can retire, you know, as hopefully one of the greats. Oh, hey, I'll take a little pay cut. I've already made my millions and millions of dollars over the last 10 years. Take a little pay cut. So that's my stance on it. Russell Wilson needs to get paid, and I certainly think that he will. It would go down as the all-time bonehead mistakes by any franchise if it was allowed to happen that he leaves the Seahawks. That's so far-fetched that I can't even really entertain the thought, to be honest with you. That's crazy. That'd be way more bonehead, you know, than throwing the slant route at the goal line in the Super Bowl, you know, which wasn't that bad of a call. But, you know, in hindsight, it was the worst call ever. But anyway, that's all I got. You guys let me know what you think down below. See what you think about the contract stuff and about Jimmy Graham's involvement in the Seahawks offense. That's all I got. Fuck the 49ers. Go Hawks.